Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. You know who I am Danielle. I am from empoweredreading.com and I am excited to be reading your cards today. So thank you for being here and thank you for letting me read your energies. I am glad to say I am keeping to my word and I am finally doing another past life card reading. I'm going to do it way different than I did the last one. For those of you who did not see that card reading, I had said that if you didn't find a pile that resonated with you, not to worry because I would be doing another past life reading. And here we are doing it now. Okay, so this one's going to be essentially formatted completely different, and I'm saying formatted because this time I actually have a whole page written on what I want to make sure we ask about and making sure that we close everything off properly and that we're going in it with the right intentions. If you don't know much about past life readings, that's totally okay because I feel like we all probably do them a little bit differently. For me, I really wanted to do a past life reading this time where we would look into just one specific past life because I wanted to see whichever one is the most relevant and significant in your past lives for you right now. So basically what that means, if you have a block that's coming up that you've been having a really hard time getting around, or you're feeling stuck, anything like that, or you've always struggled with a certain something, I want that to come through for you and I want to essentially heal it for you if I can. I've never tried doing this obviously in a general pickle card reading, so I don't know how exactly this is gonna play out. I haven't pulled anything yet, haven't done any of that yet. So yeah, don't for sure hold me to it, but my game plan right now, I have written down. I want to go in and see what happened, what needs to be healed, and then I am going to be doing this only on the behalf of you if you give me your permission or your higher self gives me permission. And then we're going to look at the end of this card reading and just see what messages Archangel Michael has for you and some other angels have for you around the healing and how to nurture yourself after this, because past life healing can be revolutionary in some ways. And why I say that is I know some people are all about, like, I do think it's really important. Let me just restart. Why I think past life work is important is because karmic cycles often come from past lives. It's super important not to focus on past life and the details and who you were and bringing in those life lessons that you didn't really learn. For example, if you were a witch in a past life and you were burned to death, you don't really want to bring in that energy into your day now unless it's healed. And you also don't want to become so obsessive with it that you no longer are the person you are. You're just sort of embodying that specific part of you. I hope that makes sense to some of you. Basically, if you do that, I know some people who have told me that they got really obsessive about past lives where they were witches, and then people in this life started essentially bullying them, outcasting them, telling them that they were witch, they were evil, they were, you name it. And then they finally put it together and were like, oh, I haven't closed off my past life properly. I was kind of looking into it for the wrong reasons at that point. Like, there is good reasons to learn, but as you can see, she literally took her karmic lessons or the lessons from that life and they started to become part of her physical present reality. So that's why I can't remember the point I was making, but to have that in your awareness. just because we're going back to see what blocks, what wisdom you have to share with yourself now. And we're going to offer that part of you healing so that it isn't a wounded version of yourself trying to relearn the same lessons or lessons from that time in this day and age. Okay, I really hope that made sense. So we are for sure going to be cutting cords with this past life to close it off. That is a hard rule. So if you are comfortable with me doing it on your behalf, then you must cut cords with yourself at the end of this reading. If you're not comfortable with that, then I'm essentially going to say you shouldn't be watching this pick a card reading, because as I explained, I do not want you to be stuck in past energy and living out hard lessons from a witch lifetime, say during Salem. We don't want that. So that's why we're going to go into this past life responsibly, and that's what it looks like for me, is making sure you cut cords at the end. Okay, we're gonna move on. So the intentions for this past life reading is getting to know more about yourself, your soul history, to understand and know yourself better, and understanding perhaps and having more compassion for yourself if you've had a block for a long time, because it could have just been a lesson you've been trying to learn over multiple lifetimes. You've dealt with it. So if you say had a block around trusting people and you got killed in a bunch of your lifetimes for trusting the wrong person, and then in this lifetime your soul still has that knowledge within it, but you don't understand why you might have a hard time trusting people, and it's over small things, right? Obviously it's not life and death situations, you just have a hard time trusting them. Then it's nice to go back and look in the past life, clear and heal that energy so that you can essentially start fresh, so you don't have that extra baggage from those past lives on top of the experiences you've had already in this lifetime. And that's what I mean. It's not getting rid of your life experiences in this lifetime, but it's just sort of balancing out the load, if that makes sense, so that you're not having so much historical previous lives where this has happened. So that's why we're going to be doing it. Okay, so as a disclaimer for you all, we are going to be looking at only one past life for each pile. I want to give everyone the most accurate reading that I can, keeping in mind that this is a general pick a card reading. I'm going to be focusing in on the following questions. So the question to ask yourself during pick a card, it's going to be a long question, but it's important that you ask yourself it, and it is, what was one of your most significant past lives that is relevant for you to know about right now? And then once you've asked that question, we are going to be diving in. I am going to leave all this information in the description box because I think I might hop around a bit once I'm actually into the card readings with the questions, but this is the rough order I have going right now. The first thing we're going to look at is, who or what did you identify as in this past life? And then we are going to be looking at, what did you learn in this lifetime? And I am leaving that open to maybe the limiting beliefs that came up, the whatever it is. Like maybe this was a beautiful past life. I do want to hold the option possible that that is it, but in a human life or in any living life, there is going to be some limiting beliefs that form in some way, so, or some regret or something like that. So we are going to hold space for that to come up, and then we're going to use that information to see maybe where it might be coming up in your life today or now. It doesn't have to, it's okay if it doesn't. And then we're going to follow that up by pulling cards for, what did your higher self want you to learn? So that's like the bigger soul purpose, soul reason for these things happening. And I imagine that answer is going to be completely different than the first answer. So that will be the pure higher self, higher consciousness answer. And then we are going to go back to that aspect of you in the past life, and we're just going to ask what healing does it need or want, or how essentially can I be of service to this part of you, this past life of you, during this card reading. And anything could come up. I might pull extra cards. I'm honestly kind of relying on the fact that with the cards up, I'll be able to get something. I'm going to be doing a lot more channeling than I normally do in general pick a card readings, so that's why we're really just going to see what happens. I feel really called to do it, so someone out there needs some help with a block or two. Okay, so after that, after we see what it needs for healing, we are gonna see, and I might have already answered this question, how is this past life showing up in your current life now? And we're also gonna leave room to ask, is it showing up in your life now even? Who knows? It might not be. And then the last question, sorry, I got another cold, ironically, so that's why my voice sounds a little bit funny. I'm a little more out of breath than normal, so bear with me. Is there any contracts, vows of poverty, obedience, or I'm going to even leave it up to like generational curses, or maybe personally kind of like, I guess that's more of a vow to me. I don't really think people curse themselves as much as they put limiting beliefs on themselves or vow about things, but that could be seen as a curse in its own. Or did someone curse you? I don't want you to get freaked out about this. It's just, it could be, you know, someone was really angry at you and they were a very psychic person, they were a very energetic person, and that anger just really affected you and maybe it's lingering. I don't know. I just felt called to do that, so that's what we're going to do. It doesn't mean it has to come up. And then we are going to ask if it needs to be cleared. I'm not going to leave it to it has to be just me to clear this from you. If you have practitioners who are able to, sometimes having this in your awareness is all a practitioner needs to suddenly see it, that they've never seen it before. And then sometimes, unfortunately, some practitioners just can't see the block you have, and that's just normal. It only happens when that person can't help you with it, so it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you resonate with it, if you feel it's true for you, then I would just suggest finding a different practitioner. If they can see it, they can clear it, they can heal it for you. So I want to keep that as open there. This is when, after that whole step happens, we are going to cut cords and close this connection, and we're going to cut cords with, that might happen a few more times yet, but okay. As I was saying, our last step is that we are going to be cutting cords and close off the connection with this past life you. And then as we cord cut with that aspect of you, we're going to cut any of the other cords with the other lifetimes where you may have had the same limiting beliefs or blocks as you did in that lifetime. And that's really just to finalize that healing and clearing and cutting it. Yeah, and then we'll be back just talking to you and your current self, and we're going to pull a couple of cards, I don't know how many cards, but from the Archangel Michael deck, and we're going to pull from this healing deck on what you need to know for healing after this reading, what insights Archangel Michael and the other angels and guides. I am going to actually, I should say, I'm focusing more on angelic guides for this one. When I do past life healing, I do it with the angels, so I'm not going to say other guides won't come through. This is going to be a very heavy Archangel reading. Okay, so all the messages are going to be coming from the Archangels, and it's going to be great. I love working with them. They say things in a great way with a lot of wisdom, and they don't bring up blocks that can't be healed or cleared. They don't like to leave you in a place where you feel scared or unempowered. So that's why this is going to be great. Okay, what I set the intentions for this crystal grid for today. I did do another one, if you didn't notice, for bringing in energy for those who watch this reading. The intentions I've set for this one is using red aventurine to help ground everyone and keep them in a heart-centered place during this whole reading, and to help you see with compassion and gentleness towards yourself, whatever comes up, because this past life is part of you. It is not 100% who you are, but it is like that piece of you. So I really wanted to call in compassion, gentleness, and acceptance of self. And then rainbow fluorite I'm using for bringing clarity and healing in for you all and bringing in balance into your life. That felt really important because whatever block you've come in here wanting to clear up, maybe you're just in here for fun, whatever it is, I was just wanting to make sure that everyone leaves feeling a little more balanced. And then the sand dollar, wanted it in the center of my crystal grid. It's a little unconventional. And I wanted it because it symbolizes freedom and being able to choose your own path and bringing you strength. And another interesting thing about sand dollars is that they're found just below the surface of the sand. And that's kind of what I want to come forward in this card reading, is seeing what's just below the surface, understanding what's really like adding to the blocks that you've been dealing with. And that's what I feel past life healings are great for, is bringing up and clarifying why some struggles in your life and some blocks in your life have been a little heavier than others. And then this, if you didn't notice, I have a few pieces going on here of apotholite. I never know if I say that word right, but it's also a sea crystal essentially. And then we've got two pieces of smoky point clusters just to keep the energy grounded. And I have also done another thing this time. I felt really called to channel in Reiki energy during this whole card reading. I never want to force any kind of healing or energy on someone else. So I've just put it out there that if your higher self agrees to wanting it, if you in your head say yes, or in any way verbalize that yes, you would like to receive Reiki energy, then I have put that into my intentions for whoever watches this video. And I always put the intention that Reiki energy only gently shifts your energy, because I don't want people leaving this feeling like they have a hangover because they've just gotten too much energy cleared in a pick a card reading and they weren't needing that or expecting that. You know, because when the beauty of Reiki energy is it does gentle changes most of the time. I shouldn't say, I never want to say that something's an absolute truth, but do with the intention of it being gently done so that it's not overwhelming for the body, the person, the spirit. It's just a nice clearing, a little like pick me up kind of energy. Okay, so there we go. I think this has probably been more than a long enough intro. I'm just going to talk about the pile selection. So if you're like, oh my gosh, please, I cannot handle it anymore intro, I'm just ready to get into it, I get you. I'm usually that person in card reading. So we're going to have only 3 piles to choose from, mostly just because I'm sick. I did want to do a few more, but I just think realistically I'll be able to give you the best of my energy with just 3 today. So we're going to do that. Right. Okay, so the first pile 1 is going to be choosing with either a seashell here, if you can see it, or we're going to be pulling for a few cards from the Angel Tarot cards. And then pile 2, it's a Sodalite piece with a bald eagle on it. Or you can choose with the Archangel Power Tarot cards. And then our third pile's choice is going to be this clear quartz crystal, found in nature. So I assume it's clear quartz just due to where I found it. And the card deck pile 3 we'll be using is the Divine Feminine. Otherwise, all the other card decks will be the same for each pile. Okay, so if this is finally the point where you know how to pick a card, please go ahead and pick your pile. Go to the description box below and go to pile selection. If you don't, there's only one more step here before you're ready. What you're going to do is ground yourself before you choose a deck pile. For this reading, it's very important to be grounded because there might not be a reading for you in every pile, and there might not be a reading for you here in general. This is going just to be one past life for each pile, and so ground yourself so that you really are in your body, in touch with your intuition, your inner knowing, and you'll know right away if this is a pile with a message for you or a card reading with a message for you. How you ground yourself. You can either do it by taking 4 deep breaths, picturing light above your head, and then breathing that light in down through your nose, all the way to your core, and you're just going to gently release it. So very slowly release your breath out of your mouth. You do this 4 times, just so you can get a little bit of a airflow going, that it's not forced, and you're not holding your breath when you do it. If you don't like that way, you can picture your feet growing roots down through them all the way down to the core of Mother Earth. Your feet should be flat on the ground. Preferably take off your shoes. Honestly, I do it with socks on. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people don't like socks. And you just do that until you feel very firm on the floor. Like you've never felt so aware of how much weight your feet hold. Not in a painful way, just in an awareness way. You feel really connected. Your mind's not going crazy. You're just centered, calm, and focused. That's the goal. Okay, once you're grounded, hopefully one of those 2 ways work, or if you have a way you like, go ahead. We are going to just look at each pile. I like to ask the question to my higher self, to myself in general, and then look at each pile because it just saves me the extra step of looking at them for a little bit longer. And then if the crystal catches your eye, then go for that one. If it's the deck underneath that you're just like, I don't know why, I feel it's important to choose that one, that's a great sign. Go with that deck. If there's 2, and I mean, who knows, right? You got free will. If you really feel like there's 3 that you should watch, then you watch all 3. But try to be very in sync with your intuition and what you should be, which one's kind of calling towards, yeah. And then, like I said, if none of those things work, if you even go to the description box and there isn't a timestamp that's even catching your eye, then try to go to a different pick a card reading. I have another past life reading. It's very different from this one. You can just go on to the YouTube, multiple videos out there and do past life card reading, like just do what feels right for you and resonates with you. Yeah, nothing feels worse than when you're listening to a card reading and you're like, I don't feel like any of this is true. That's just to me is a sign that either you're not grounded or that it's just not the right pile for you, and no one really likes feeling like that. Okay, I think that's it. I will give you time now to take your deep breaths, to ground yourself however you feel called to, and then I will see you in your pick a card readings. All right, pile 1. Let's get your reading started. Okay, so we are gonna start. I still have 3 card decks to pull from, but I just wanted to get all the past life general information cards pulled. So that's what I have here. Life experience, Archangel Shamuel, the star, Archangel Jophiel, the Sun, Archangel Uriel. One I pulled face up with the intention of only reading that side of the card, and then I pulled another one with the intention of getting the death and the lesson of that life. So here we go. Put those here. Cards, I just asked for more information on this past life here. And I also pulled 3 more cards asking for more information on what this life was like, what lessons you learned in this past life, and what all went down in that life. Okay, you know what? I feel actually okay to cover up the words. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, that looks better. I feel like we have the whole situation going down now. This is a really interesting past life. I want to talk about a little bit about your current life here, real quick. So, this card here, Life Experience, Archangel Samuel card, um, wow. So, it's funny as a card reader, sometimes something just all of a sudden clicks and you're like, oh, of course, this is so obvious. So, I'm going to try my best to explain it since you can't read my minds. Okay, so I was seeing all these and I was like, how is this incorporating? Obviously, this past life is related to a very, very powerful spiritual being. I feel like in the past life, this is referring to a female. The energy it's attached to now, like you as a person, I don't know. Some could be female, some could be male. That part doesn't matter. It's the past life that is a female lifetime. But the connecting here, so how you might be being blocked by what happened in this past life in this lifetime right now, right off this first card. So, um, if you've recently been very slow to opening up to the spiritual realm, or I feel like you are open to it because you are watching this video, but you might have had a very big crown chakra block or a third eye block, or you might be watching stuff like this, but you don't fully believe it. You're just kind of like, this is like a nice thing. Um, that's how I think it would kind of feel, but upon looking deeper, there is a part of you that would believe all this, but there's a fear there. And this fear is almost frustrating and annoying because you're not sure exactly why it's there. It's because of this past life. In this past life, you were essentially, it ended. You did die. Obviously, it's a past life. Sorry. I was just saying that. I was like, oh, duh, you guys know that. You're in a new life now. But you were persecuted essentially because of your beliefs. And not only that, I get a big vibe of jealousy in this past life. So, someone I think did you dirty. I'm getting kind of a double vibe here where one energy is that you not only were persecuted for your incredibly open beliefs, and I am like confident this is not a witch past life. This is totally different energy. This is 100% um, just working with angels. It's not shamanic. It's very angelic. The more thing, the more I talk, the more information I will kind of get around this. But 100%, you were extremely connected to the archangels, the angels in general, and you were quite a conscious, a human being. Um, Very, very kind. You were truly, I'm just like truly enlightened, very way past, um, way too early for your time. That's what I should say. You almost didn't fit in. You did not really belong in this era. And for some of you, some people were very envious and jealous of that, and I actually do get the suspicion that some of them were witches. I'm not getting, I think I'm getting several things, sorry. I'm getting that some could just be white witches, some could be people who just didn't feel as special or gifted as you, but it was just because you were truly so ahead of the time, your connection was so pure, your heart was so pure, there wasn't any greed or anything else there. And then for other people who were kind of doing a lot of good things, and it could have been someone who didn't like you clearing the stuff that they were creating. I would see that as maybe clearing miscreations, kind of chaos, and whoever had originally put it there preferred it. But I do get these were all human related. They were all wizards or witches, but they were just, some were playing a little more on one side than the other. And that isn't super important on the who, but essentially you get very strong dark magic cursed energy, and I think they betrayed you and essentially got you imprisoned, and that is where things ended. I see as the death is fire, and I really do feel like they executed you. Okay, so how that'd be coming in to your life now from this past life would be a few different ways. Um, I'm feeling for some of you, it's going to be different levels of each kind of block, but for certain ones of you, it's just going to be really strong for one, and then the other ones probably won't resonate. But like I said, it's general card reading, so you see what fits with you. So the trust is going to be a bit of an issue for some people. I do see, because the version of yourself in this past life is just so truly um I don't want to say pure, because I don't want that to sound naive, but very, very high vibrational, very attuned with like some of the deeper questions of life, things that you didn't really think that someone in this era would have been thinking about. I'm really bad at history, guys. But the time frame I kind of see, I think would be, I think it's like medieval vibes, you know, there's still some castles around, there's still lots of like forest and like villages happening, but people, I guess I also think it's European culture. I should add that in. It feels very European. I couldn't tell you which area necessarily, but maybe Western Europe. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I think Western Europe. I actually even get for some people this past life could go as far back as like the Viking era. And I think that's even why it feels even more impressive of how amazingly conscious and aware and just higher vibrational this aspect of you was. I hope I'm putting it in enough words. It's like I feel like this past life woman, she was connecting regularly to the angels and the archangels, but it wasn't just connecting in a casual way. It was like almost connecting by somehow meeting them on a different dimension. And to do that, her energy was just incredibly, what is the word I'm looking for? She just, it's almost like this aspect had ascended much higher, or had learned how to ascend very high to connect with these angels specifically. Definitely was very able to hear clearly angels on the seventh dimension. I I almost want to say that maybe some were like sometimes angels on a little higher of a dimension. You wouldn't be surprised if for some people who had this past life, it would be even the 11th dimension, which is really impressive. And I just really got to add, like, the time frame that I'm like getting, that I wish I was better at history to explain. um, this is really impressive. This is quite a great awareness to have had way before the rest of us. Not that it didn't happen, but that's definitely where the sort of betrayal, curse, jealousy thing came in from this other practitioner, witch person. Okay, I feel other magical being who had some issues that they weren't feeling able to deal with. We'll put it that way. So sorry, I keep getting off topic because I keep seeing how amazing this person is and then getting in a rant about that. So that would come through with some trust issues, with I think trusting other people, but it's not that you don't think people are good. It would be more on the level that you could get a certain amount of close, but you find yourself often trying to really read people, almost on a survivalistic sense, where it's not because you just like reading people, it's because you feel like you have to. And when they do something that you didn't quite understand, it can make you have a lot of anxiety or could maybe sometimes come up as anger or frustration because you don't understand what's happening. But I think the primary core feeling that's coming from is anxiety and fear. Yeah, that's how I'd explain it. And I think sometimes it can confuse you a little bit because there probably are things in your life that would make sense, but I feel like a lot of that is coming from this past life wound, past life block, we'll call it. And then the other ways that it could be coming up is with a closed crown chakra or a closed third eye. And like I said, that could come from death having been because of your incredible ability, your really deep connection to specifically the angels, the angelic realms. If you have a weird fear of angels, you're not sure if they're good or not, or you just have a really big block about believing that they exist, if something about them just kind of doesn't make you feel good, that would 100% be coming from that. It'd be that association because angels equaled why this person was jealous, which equaled how you died in that past life. Very closely interchangeably related. Yeah, and like I said, I think some of you might even have been born into specifically Catholic families in this lifetime. I keep thinking that. And I think part of that is your soul's chosen lesson because of the, how am I going to put this? I think for some it's going to be a karmic thing because it could be the people that killed you or that were the reasons for why you died. Like, yes, this person who was jealous was the ultimate reason, but the people after that, people who imprisoned you and then killed you out of fear of you having different beliefs or whatever it is, they could have been pagan or they could have been a form of Christian back in the day. And that's why I think you were probably born into a Christian family. It's kind of one of those weird loop things that our souls can choose to deal with sometimes to try and overcome um, fears or limiting beliefs from a past life. Or it could even be that this, like I was saying, maybe your parent or maybe a teacher or maybe the priest that you've had for your childhood could have been a reincarnation of the exen, uh, could be the reincarnation of the person who actually physically imprisoned you or the one who actually ordered your death. I do feel like it's one of those scenarios. Like I said, general card reading, but it feels linked. Definitely feels linked to maybe it's Anglican. I always get those two kind of confused in card readings: Anglican, and Catholic. Kind of find that they tend to appear to me similarly. It could be because they don't really know much about Anglican. Um, yeah, sorry about that, but it's one of the two. Okay, so yeah, trust could be trust issues, um, a strong discomfort with angels specifically, or you've noticed you have a fairly blocked crown chakra or third eye chakra. discomfort around specifically Catholicism. And then also, I feel like you might feel like you kind of have to keep things secret. And that could go along with not trusting things, but I think some of you might keep that in its own separate category where there's just some things that you feel like you almost have to walk on eggshells around, keep other people out of the loop. And at the true root of that, you're not maybe totally sure why you do that. Maybe you're just like, oh, it's just stuff that people don't need to know. People might think you're crazy, it's just something you keep to yourself. But I actually get that that comes from this past life as well, because I do feel like you were cautious enough, but because of that person essentially either cursing you or turning you over or turning you in, betraying your trust, that you reprimand yourself in that past life for not being more cautious and not seeing what was happening in the shadows, not basically for being a trusting person. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to see, is there any other ways this would be coming up? Another lingering thing from this past life is that you had a lot of things you wanted to do. You had a very big soul purpose and soul mission. And I think in this lifetime, you might have, what's the word? You might find that you're always felt like, or maybe you've even said to people, like, I know I'm supposed to do something important, but I don't know what it is. Or you've felt that truly deeply, and you know there's something there, but it's almost like you can't see it. The harder you look, it goes away, but it's so important. That would come a little bit of two reasons actually. It's not without cause, but it's a lot of it's coming from the unfinished work and honestly the joy in the work that this past life had. Like truly, truly loving what they were doing. And then I feel like how this works for you in this lifetime though is that you're essentially, if you want it after this reading, once this energy is healed and cleared, it will be ready for you to call back in a healed way. So it won't be the injured limiting belief, the one that doesn't trust people, who has more anxiety. It will be that aspect of you that is higher consciousness, that is higher wisdom, that I almost feel like they hold the key to your soul purpose. And I'm just going to kind of have to leave that one there because it's just like the words that I'm getting is that they hold the key to your soul purpose. And then by realigning and healing this within yourself, you're going to start, I think, dreaming more of what that soul purpose is. You're going to start to feel that excitement. You're going to be working towards it. I mean, you already are, but you're not going to feel so lost in the searching of it. And I also think you're going to end up working with these three angels specifically again. Um, Archangel Shamuel, who helps you align with the right people, the people you can trust, your soul purpose, everything you want. It helps you find what you're looking for. And then Archangel Jophiel, which I always see as an angel who really helps with self love and knowing where you belong in this world. That's how I see her because I see her as someone who clears our ear chakras and our third eye and helps us see things clearly, hear things clearly. And I always associate that with having more confidence and self love. So that's where I get that from. And Archangel Uriel, I think it's just going to put everything together. I actually think Archuriel specifically for this pile is going to help remember and kind of, right now things might seem really messy and confusing and maybe like they're not quite aligning. I think Archangel Uriel wants to step in and help kind of control the process of which that kind of comes back to you and that wisdom settles in. Like I said, you would not be getting back the injured, like, past life, it would be the wisdom of this past life without the injuries. It's been healed. So it's actually really great energy to call back in. I also feel like because this feels like such a big thing, like I feel like this injury is what closed off the crown chakra and the third eye. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little soul fragment that got lost when this past life person died. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by that. It is super common. Fortunately, that is why we have people and practitioners who look in past lives, look for lost soul fragments, offer them healing, and bring them back in so that you can be as close to being the full you can be, essentially. I hope that makes sense. I'm like, oh, I've never had to explain all this in a general pick a card reading, so here we go. You can think what you like. You only ever have to take what resonates. So I am looking at things here. Oh, I just love this card. This is so amazing. Yeah, I definitely think this is soul fragment that needs to go back. And as if you didn't listen to my super long rant at the start, which is totally fine, you have full control here. You decide what you want. You decide what feels true for you. You decide even if this resonates with you. But if you are wanting this resonates, and you're okay with it, then all you need to do is think yes, um, say yes in any way, just affirm that you would want this past life healed, because I will not heal anything that you do not want healed for yourself. But as this is a general card reading, if you keep watching, we are going to be healing this past life. So how am I going to do that for general card reading? Self-need or what? Okay, so we know already what healing this past self needs, just due to all the things we saw that come up. So we're going to address that. Essentially, what's going to happen is I'm just going to ask Archangel Raphael and my other guides to, if you want this, if you feel comfortable with this, like I said, you can always bring this to a practitioner you trust and want, because this is your energy, this is your past life, it is your choice. But if you do, then just affirm in some way that you do want this. And I'm going to use Archangel Raphael and my own skills and my other spirit guides to essentially clear, what is it? The anxiety, the mistrust, and any other healings that needs. I imagine something's going to come up with the way that this person did die. And usually maybe talk through when I'm editing, I'll just clip in a little music soundtrack, and I'm just going to go in and clear this. I do it better like that. I'm sorry, but I care more about the quality of the clearing and the hearing than perhaps the media entertainment here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do that. Like I said, affirm if you want that done or not. I'm going to ask the angels to help me with this, because I want to make sure, as this is a general card reading, that everyone gets this if they want it. After that, we're going to go and look at the lessons that they have to share with you. And like I said, because I did get that this is a soul piece that needs to come back in, I wouldn't say technically needs to. I mean, you always have free will, but if this was myself personally, I would take it back, because it's like quite a key piece in your soul, for sure. I think that's definitely why there's been some crown chakra, third eye block. So I think that will not come in and just clear everything right away, because everything's always done gently when you do it with the angels, because we don't want it to be overwhelming that it essentially um, doesn't stick. Okay, so I'm just gonna be quiet here and get this going for you. All right, so for those of you who are okay with it, I just finished with asking for Archangel Raphael, Michael, Metatron, Archangel Shemuel, Jophael, and a couple other shamanic guides I work with to do this work for you whenever you see this video. So it's interesting because I wasn't really sure if I'd technically be allowed to do that, but you know, it doesn't hurt to ask. So whenever you see this video, if you agree to this, then I have essentially set up the instructions and the guidelines on how we are gonna do that for you to get your soul piece, sorry, your past life soul piece healed, cleared up, and essentially freed, and then brought back to you if you want that. Before I did, after I did the healing on this past life soul, it was very, very intelligent soul, very beautiful soul. So I really wanted to make sure that I got some messages, some lessons they wanted you to know. And these lessons came from the healed version of that soul piece. And the first card I pulled, I really, really liked. It said, "How wonderful I am. And do you remember that you and this little piece are essentially one?" So we are wanting to awaken within you your memory of how wonderful you are, how good you are, and how worthy of whatever you are wanting you are. I really, I, I couldn't have chosen a more perfect card as this, because I said this is a very wise past life slash soul piece, and I can only see benefits coming from calling back in the healed aspect of this past life. And then I pulled two more. The next one was the secret of creating anything desired is get happy. As you practice happy thoughts, you practice your connection with Source and well being from your place of being happy. You have access to all that you desire. So this is a really wise card on manifestation and being in control of your life and being able to control and co-create with the universe what you want to experience, which is also like that really deep wisdom. To truly know that and feel that and understand that on a deep soul level takes quite high consciousness, and I really think that is one of the beautiful gifts that you would get for directly reconnecting with this healed past soul life piece. Sorry, now I'm just turning into bigger wood. And then the last card I got, my future isn't about my past. Life is only about now. That is great, because I was saying I don't want you to get caught up in the story of the past life. I just wanted to tell you it so that you know a little bit more about yourself. And for this specifically was a soul piece. So you yeah, you do have the healed version with you now if you wanted it, and being able to use that wisdom in those gifts in the now is about all that's worth paying attention to, not thinking about why it all happened to begin with. So, nothing that has ever happened has anything to do with now, unless in my now I continue to think and speak about it. Fresh new thoughts today will always give me a fresh new experience. So that's really good because we can't really manifest in the things we want if we're stuck in the past. So these cards are quite important to have come out together, and they're really wise cards for soul piece to have passed on. You're going to do it, I'm going to do it, cut cords with this past life. Yes, if you do choose to take a soul piece, it's not going to do anything weird. It's just cutting cords essentially with being in that past energy, and we're not going to stay there because we want that. We went in there, we're going to close the box, and we're going to make sure we're all fully back in the present because it doesn't do anyone good being stuck in the past. You can't manifest in what you're wanting, and it just gets you some more lessons you don't want to learn. So, all right. If you're okay with me doing it, I'm just going to do it on your behalf. If you don't want to do it, please go ahead and do it for yourself. But essentially, I'm just going to be putting you, the general people. So I'm going to use a symbol for you all, put you in a bubble, a beautiful green protective, loving green bubble. We're going to see the cord attaching to this past life and any other past lives where these lessons were learned, these events happened, and anything that could be connected to sort of the limiting beliefs that you had learned in this past life. And we are going to cut the cord at the past life side using Archangel Michael. And it's going to go through all those past lives, and it's going to end with being snapped back in the present. And we're going to finish that cord cut by cutting cords with the cord that's attached to you in your beautiful green bubble. And that's all we got to do. We essentially clean that energy off. We thank the angels for letting us go back and see that energy and allowing us to gather that soul piece and gather some more wisdom, information to help you on your journey now in this lifetime. And maybe help, I actually think will help with some blocks. And like I said, it doesn't mean that you won't have to put effort into blocks in those areas. It just isn't going to feel so heavy and challenging because you don't have multiple lifetimes where that limiting belief was reaffirmed. Okay, now I'm just going to clear these cards out of the way, and we're going to pull some guidance cards for you now in this lifetime. So I don't want to just leave you with all that. I'm going to give you some guidance from Archangel Michael. Okay, so we have Archangel Michael cards, and although they look similar to the healing cards, although they look similar to the well-being cards, these are actually healing cards from a different deck, different author. Maybe the same drawer, actually. Never looked at that. Carolyn. Nope. They're all different. They just happen to look similar. Okay, so I want to ask, we're back in the now energy. We're grounded in the now. We've got our good grounded mini crystal grid specifically to help with that. And we are just going to ask the angels, what messages do they have for you now at the end of this reading? What do you need to know? What do you need to know? Okay, we're going to shuffle 2 more times, and then we're going to grab whatever comes up the top. Okay. Okay, we're going to do that. And we'll do that one. And I want this one. Okay. And we'll put that there. And then we're also just going to ask Archangel Michael for 3 cards from him on guidance now for you moving forward. Thank you. We're going to ask for just 2 more cards on guidance now for pile 1 moving forward after this card reading. Which guidance do you have for them? I really want that one. Okay. Thank you, Michael. Let's have a look here. I'm going to put this. Boom. All right, so advice from Michael, I actually want to start with first. I really like it. Okay, so first thing first, it says write about your thoughts and feelings. Thank you for helping me tap into my God-given creativity and wisdom so I clearly express myself and glean insight, blessing, and healings. So how I would see that would be looking into you're right, you heard it before, some release writing, some gratitude journaling, I think would also be good. I know it says write about your thoughts and feelings, but something's telling me it's important that you, at the end of journaling, have a little quick gratitude check-in, just to make sure that you're keeping your perspective on the positive. So you're clearing out that energy, but being like, I'm so grateful for the angels helping me. I'm so grateful for these beautiful friendships coming in and these trustworthy people that I am meeting. Things along that doesn't in any way mean that you shouldn't feel those harder feelings or acknowledge your emotions or honor those emotions, but just remember that you are ending it on recognizing that those struggles are hard and have been hard, but things are shifting for the better now. You're taking control of that. And then energy healing work. Thank you for sending healing energy to me, through me, for my own blessings, and for all those around me. Thank you for connecting me to loving and high integrity healers and teachers of energy healing modalities. Ooh, I really like this one too. I actually want to read this one first before I comment more on this. It says, your inner guidance is real and trustworthy. Please help me clearly hear, see, feel, and know the divine guidance that I have asked and prayed for. Allow me to keep my ego out of the way so your wisdom can come streaming through me for my own benefit and for those around me. I also can't help but look at the book. I think this is going to be really great. So the guidance that I'm seeing for Archangel Michael specifically is doing that journaling work, doing the emotional emotional release writing, and then asking and making sure you give permission for Archangel Michael, Raphael, Metatron. I'm trying to think if other ones are coming up. You know what? I really like the energy Archangel Shamuel for you and Jophael, Uriel, of course, as well. But I actually feel like Shamuel is the one you're going to use the most right away for attracting in these good people. But make sure you just ask them for help and give them permission to help you with these things. And then the middle card just made me think about really working on manifesting in and attracting in what you want and asking for it. It's so interesting because I almost see this as this is going to be a huge time of growth. And I almost want to say celebration. I'm not really sure where that part's coming in, but something that you've been stuck on or blocked with for a long time is sort of going to just start to gently fall away, and you're going to grow so much from this. I feel like you guys might start getting into Reiki healing or some kind of practice that works with the Merkaba. I only know the energy healings that I'm kind of a little more already in, so I'm going to be a bit biased and say Reiki energy, but I do think there could be something else. It could even be yoga. What is that one I keep hearing about lately? Yoga Nidra. I think that's it. Could be that too. Maybe if you're already doing it, look into that. Like I said, only take what resonates, but something that's going to be good. And you might not even know what I'm talking about either. So ask Archangel Michael to lead you to where you need to go, because that's what this one essentially was saying. Or him himself, allowing him to send you healing energy. Yeah, but you guys are going to be quite on a journey. I don't feel like this is the end of your spiritual path here. I think you're just at the very beginning, the very start. I think it's like that was the soul piece you guys were needing to really wake up and embrace and embark on your journey. Sorry, my cats are getting a little bit rowdy if you're starting to hear some crazy sounds. Okay, we're almost at the end of this pile one, don't worry. So the mountain card, I love seeing mountain cards in card readings. They're so strong and protective, and to me, they just feel like home. So, and look at that, you also have a home there. Okay, so ask for guidance in seeing the truth concealed in your personal challenges. Ask who, your angels, your guides to help you. Bless your difficulties and ask to see their hidden guidance. Have the courage to accept what you discover and to initiate whatever action your healing requires. Ooh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really liking this yoga vibe actually for you. I feel like that's really connected. Oh, sorry, Steve. Forgiveness means more to God than sacrifice. Ooh, okay. Doesn't have to be God specific, could be the universe, could be to you. Just meaning forgiveness basically serves everyone more than sacrifice. Forgive one person today. Open your heart to that person and release unnecessary suffering from the past. Feel the peace that follows from this simple act. Ooh, you know what I like is this card's purple. This is going to help with the crown chakra block that we were talking about earlier. And oh, I forgot to mention, while I was actually doing the healing for that past life, I realized that although the block would be surface level, the crown in the third eye, upon going deeper, I actually realized it would be a really big heart chakra block in there. Yeah, so I do believe there could be like underactivity. Sorry, there could be underactivity in the crown and third eye, but the main thing causing that, I think, was the heart chakra block. The past life essentially was a soul fragment that had something to do with the heart itself. So that was really key to bring in. And then home is for resting, renewal, warmth, and love. If this is not the atmosphere in your home, what can you do today that contributes to changing it? Ooh, so home is resting, renewal, warmth, and love. What can you do to change it if that's not how you feel in your home? That's just simple and powerful. Tranquility at home leads to health. Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I get strong meditation vibes. That is going to be so healing and eye-opening, both third eye and figurative eye. Hmm. Okay, I'm trying to think. Is there any other questions that you guys might have that you can't ask necessarily because you're not here right now? Okay, let me see here. I do actually see again reiterated the crown and the third eye block, so those still are issues. So yes, if you're like, I still feel blocked there, yeah, they're still there, but I do think they're going to be gently shifting. Even these blocks here feel not as big as they did when I first initially was reading the card reading. And I am just saying, like, if I see the future coming towards you, is just absolute growth. And then that, I don't want to overwhelm you, but I do think you're going to be doing some kind of healing work yourself. Yeah, definitely. I feel like you've got magic hands, but that's coming from that soul piece coming back because they were quite a compassionate light being. Okay. All right. I think that's all I got for you. Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope that wasn't too much or too intimidating. I know that sometimes past life healing for some people seems scary, but I usually find that once you get into it, it just like validates and confirms so many things in your life. And I hope that this pile had that. And I actually do really hope that if you didn't feel comfortable with me healing that or setting up the angels to help you with healing that or returning that soul piece once it's healed to you and cutting those cords, that you do go see your trusted practitioner, whoever they are, to help you with this and move forward, because it does feel, I can even say like the energy that I'm channeling now, it just feels very calm, and it feels a little tired, that was a lot, but it feels just shifted enough, just lightly, gently shifting and at peace. That's the main one. It feels peaceful now. So I hope that for you. If there's a general card, pick a card reading that you'd like to see, you can always leave a comment and let me know. Otherwise, I just sort of randomly decide that day, or sometimes I get like a kind of like an inkling to do something, or I don't want to say craving. Anyways, I gotta end this because now I'm just starting to ramble. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in a week. Hello, pile 2. You chose the Sodalite Eagle here. That there. If you didn't hear the long conversation at the start, basically I pre-pulled some cards. I still have 3 more decks to pull from later on, but I just did that just to save some time. So all these cards that are already pulled are just more information about specifically the past life that is coming through for you. So we're just going to go ahead and put down all the cards now. Let's start here. So 7 of Michael, Knight of Raphael, Solutions, Archangel Zadkiel, Sadikiel. You guys actually got 4, which is 1 more than most from this deck. Wow, look at that. Archangel Zadkiel. That's really cool. Came out twice. And then, sorry, I'm just going to try to, you know what, I'm going to actually put these here. Like this. Medicine man or woman. Greco-Roman. There's a lot of different things happening. Okay. And we have one card which says building collapse, earth disaster, earthquakes. And then I chose another one face up only for the lesson and the way of death. So it says, sorry, I'm just laughing. Lesson is abusive technology, and death is accident. Accident vibe I'm picking up right away with this kind of energy over here. I was laughing about abusive technology because my mind immediately went to computers and stuff, but then I was like, oh no, they're not talking about that. Um, yeah. Okay. 1 second here. We're just gonna tune in a little bit. Okay, pile 2. So, a very interesting past life. Yes, I do say that all the time because people's experiences and cards are always interesting. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a card reader if I didn't find it interesting. Okay, so right away, I kind of want to refer to how this would be affecting you right now, this past life, just so you can see if this resonates, if this is the right pile for you. Yeah, so how should I do this? You know what? Quickly, I'll just go over a general of what I'm getting. So in this past life, I do get that it was a male. So he was an extremely passionate artist. I think specifically sculptor. And I do get that the timeline here is, I do think, pretty accurate. I do see it in Greece or Roman times, actually. And in this past life, this person was a little bit headstrong. Not necessarily in a horrible way, but they were very good at what they did artistically. They made some of the most beautiful sculptures, and they were well known for it. And while this person was working one day, very much in their own little world. Like, I would say this person would seem very ungrounded to us, just in the sense that they're channeling in so much divine inspiration, creativity to to the point where they aren't always aware of what's happening around them. They really get into the zone. And what I see is one day while working on one of these masterpieces, there was just an accident, a work accident, where this person, I believe, some kind of like stone or something fell on them. And what would be today a very bad accident was at the time a fatal accident because of the medicine at the time. And when I see specifically and where they're, I should say that this past life is calling for forgiveness. This one specifically because this man felt that the accident was very easily preventable. They knew where he was. There was just some carelessness, um, and which caused the accident to begin with. And then the medicine man, there was some anger with them because they didn't actually perform any helpful medical techniques. It was definitely a very, I really think it's like Greek, where they just like smoked some olive branches or something and fanned you with it. Sorry, I should say in this past life, they fanned this person with it and were like, this will heal you. And it was pretty serious injuries. So it didn't, unfortunately, save this man. And I think that also left um, some frustration there. So when I see abusive technology, I was a little confused about that at first, but then when I was tuning into the accident, I realized that there was some, I mean, to our standards, it would not by any means be like revolutionary technology, but it was just some new way of doing things using some tool or something. And it obviously wasn't very safe or very great. And it injured this man. And so this is an unhealthy soul lesson. It was the same in pile one, where the lesson that they learned was very much like from the ego, that limiting the belief, like this is what got me killed, this is what isn't good, is technology or new ways of doing things. So if this would be your past life energy, how that would be creating blocks in your life now would be with change. I right away see if, say, you get a new phone, someone buys you a new phone, or your phone's just out of date and they don't offer new uploads for it anymore, and you have to get a new one, it just makes you so unbelievably angry and frustrated. And it's just so much more than what most people feel. And when you tell people it makes you angry, you feel like they don't even understand you. They're like, yeah, I know, I don't really, it's annoying when that happens, or oh, that sucks. And it just doesn't really explain in words the true anger you feel for, I want to say, almost the incompetence of things being that way. Another way it could look is, I do honestly think that it could be that you butt heads sometimes in teamwork settings, um, where I really see it connected to like someone else is poor, unintelligent, not they didn't really have the knowledge on how to properly use something or do something that got this man injured. So that would come out as um, someone being uncomfortable with maybe doing things in a way that wasn't their own, in that other person's way. And it could be that that person is very intelligent, but you have been it cost this person their life, so it'd be coming out a little more aggressive than one intended to. And it would just mean that you've probably often noticed that you work better individually because then you're not distracted, you don't have to worry about other people's actions and how they're going to affect you. And I do mean that in the all ways. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to think. I do also feel like that would energy of having a hard time. I don't think it's lack of open-mindedness. It would be more of you're just, you know, it works. You're sure that it works that way, that kind of energy. And I think it can cause conflict because other people pick it up as aggression or as challenging them. But for you, you're not meaning it that way. You're just like, I know this works. This is the way I want to do it. Don't they know that like I've done this before and this way will work. I hope I'm explaining that right. Like that's kind of how I'm seeing your side of it. Okay, I'm trying to see. I also feel like there could be a bit of grudge holding sometimes, and I think it does just come from having two people in this past life really be the whole cause of the problem, and then not feeling like that was fair because you're loving your life. You're very divinely guided. You're inspired. You're following your heart's desire and wishes. And then this happened. And yeah, I just feel like you were quite creative. You really brought things in. And I also think this could be a lot of confusion. Like when I see this confusion card, think I see it as having been very uncertain about why that ever happened. I think you're a very good, I'm going to say manifester and calling in what you wanted and bring and creating your reality. That there was confusion about why this ever happened to you and why it did happen the way it did. Um, yeah, that's kind of where I'm seeing this. And then I think also how it would show up in your current life would be that you would have a blocked off crown chakra just naturally a go-to defense because yours was very open in this lifetime and because it was so open. And I do mean like overly open that the protective way to defend yourself was to close it. And so I shouldn't so much say you, it was this aspect of you in this past life. And yeah, so it's a little bit sad because I feel like the creative side did get a little shut down with that energy. You might have a hard time receiving divine guidance, divine inspiration. It's not that you wouldn't feel passion because that comes from your sacral, but it's just something around there is not how it used to be. It feels a little closed. And sorry, I'm trying to make sure. Oh yeah, so Archangel's Daddy Keel is here twice because it's about forgiveness. And it actually makes a lot of sense now. I'm just noticing that it's in twice. One for the initial man who um, caused the accident, and one for the medicine man who just only knew how to worship his Greek gods with olive smoking branches, which I'm sorry, that did not obviously cure too many people. Uh, yeah, and then this one here is just telling me more about your life here. Very romantic, super poetic. It's a very beautiful energy. Being swept off your feet by life is how I see it. Life literally was your passion, which is I think just why it like truly devastated you to end in that lifetime the way it did. Okay, and the message from Archangel Michael I just want to read. There is a better course of action available to you. Working alone may not be the best answer. Review all the details. So this is Archangel Michael actually coming through for this is the past life. So I do think it's saying how this is the common denominator between the two lives, about in this lifetime, you really kind of were a lone wolf in the sense that all your work was hours spent by yourself, and no one had a better vision than you did. You were great at what you did, but maybe being a little more open to other people's perspectives and ideas, because they actually will just help inspire and make yours better. Doesn't mean that you have to do exactly what they say, but I think how Archangel Michael is wording it here is that even when you speak to people, sometimes they can like spark an idea to grow in within our own heads. And it might be different than both your ideas were at the start. So that's coming through because it must be important for something you're doing right now. Yeah. Yeah, he just says, think about whether working alone on this project is a good idea. Is your unique point of view producing creative solutions, or is it causing you to miss important details? That feels so important. Okay. Um, that one was actually pretty, I hope I explained it as clearly as I saw it. Didn't feel like there was a lot of different layers on what happened. It felt pretty clear what happened. Um, yeah. So expression, something new. Yeah, okay. I kind of want to move on to if there's a healing needs to be done for this whole piece. I guess obviously, yes, there is a need for forgiveness. So if you, once again, didn't listen to the rant at the start, you have total free will here. I didn't want to do any past life healing or past life card readings unless I was going to offer everyone, even though it's a general card reading, um, a healing for the past life, because I don't like opening boxes and then closing them once we know where there's issues. So I'm more of a like, let's deal with it. We're opening the box and let us open it so it's ready to be cleared. So if you can either affirm it in your head out loud, if you want me to bring some a healing for this past life piece of you, to bring them peace essentially, and the goal behind that is that by clearing the essentially the trauma in that past life, we are going to get rid of all that extra baggage so that you can work on these blocks or these things that you're stuck with now in your life without having all the extra layers and heaviness of these other things. What am I trying to say? So that you can, so basically, that you don't have all this extra baggage validating the things that you feel now. It's very hard to explain, but every time I do a past life healing for myself, I'm always shocked at how lighter a person can feel when they don't have, say, 100 past lives where they learned the same lesson or got the same limiting belief from it reaffirmed to them. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're getting rid of the old limiting belief that no longer serves us and is no longer aligned with us, that we're trying to get rid of in our life now. That's a much better way. So if you are interested in that, just affirm in some way, and I'm going to do that. If you're not comfortable with this, go ahead and feel free to bring this to a energy healer or a practitioner who you trust to see if they'll clear this past life for you. But they do have to know something about past lives. I mean, technically, you don't really have to, but there are, if you didn't listen to my rant at the start, there are a lot of ways that specifically past life healings, you want to make sure you close properly. You don't leave any loose ends, just in the sense that you don't want old karma coming back from that lifetime, because your soul has the memory of that lifetime, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to keep all the soul lessons that I wanted to learn in that lifetime. So we just want to make sure those stay where they are and that you just get the wisdom that you need from this lifetime and you get to release the extra blocks it's creating. Okay, I just rambled a lot. So let's get started. Say yes or no and I'm just going to be quiet here while I do this. I'm going to ask the angels to help me with this because Archangel Zadkiel, I can't say that name today, has shown up twice. I'm going to ask him to help. I'm going to ask Archangel Metatron, Michael, Raphael, Gabrielle. I actually want him for communication for you guys. And I'm going to ask a couple of my own shamanic guides to step in and help with this. And it will just be silent for a few minutes. Maybe I'll throw in some funky music or something when I'm editing it so you don't have to be too bored, but shouldn't take too long. Okay, so good news is for those who said yes and they would feel comfortable with me doing it for them, everything went super well. It, I think it's going to be very, very beneficial for you just from how many lifetimes I saw that this had affected. I did end up seeing that when this person got injured and was about to pass away, that they did, in a sense, make 3 contracts, which I did clear, basically saying that they would never create again. That one was interesting. I really saw it as really shutting your crown chakra and not being able to open it. It's so funny, I just went blank on the other two. It doesn't matter, obviously, but there was 3, and they got cleared, and it was just a lot of hurt and a lot of anger because there was so much love for life, and it's really good to see that aspect of you at peace because that's ultimately what that aspect deserved. That past life version of you deserved. They created so much beauty in the world during their lifetime. Okay, so before I cut cords and all that, I had just quickly grabbed my well-being card deck, this one here, because I wanted to get any messages from the healed version of you in this lifetime. I like doing that because the ego has a lot of limiting beliefs that come up for the lessons, but when you get the learned lesson from the healed past life piece or soul piece, whatever you want to call them, I find them to be some of the information that we most need to hear in our nowadays. So I got 3 cards, and the first one I pulled was I practiced the science of deliberate creation, and that felt so good to hear because it really reaffirmed that those contracts got burnt up and they are gone. And I also like that the creation came out twice. So on the back it says, giving thought to anything is creation. Giving deliberate thought to anything is deliberate creation. And I really feel like this energy fits the passion and the love and the life that this soul piece had for all of life and existing. And like I was saying, great manifestor energy, very great manifestor energy. And here it is sneaking back in the healthy, healed version where it said, go ahead and deliberately create what you want, because that's just so much better than, you know, co-creating your life. That's basically what you want to do with the universe. And that's their lesson that they learned and would like to share with you. And I got two more. This one says, my job doesn't depend upon the approval of others. No effective guidance will ever be achieved by seeking the approval of others, for they all desire different things of you. Constant pure guidance from source comes from within you. It is always there. I also love this because this also just describes how this part of your soul or this past life you was in their life. And it was really like, these are the beautiful sides of it, right? I hope you didn't focus too much on the negative side, because there was a lot of beauty there. And I really like that in the healed version, they're passing on what they did best and learnt in their life. And then the last one, it is not my work to control others. That's really great, because that did come up a few times in this guy's soul this person's past life. Trying to limit anybody about anything defies the laws of the universe. It cannot be done. You cannot control others, but you can control and create your own reality. Ooh, so this is actually about manifestation again. And I really like it, mainly because it shows that at the end of um, their life, this man actually, this artist man from your past life, actually really did learn a lot and was quite wise. And an amazing, I don't know if I already said that, but an amazing manifester. He really knew what he was doing. And this card really cements it as, if you don't like how someone's being, you can't change them specifically, but you can choose your life. You can choose that they don't have to be in it anymore. They can be happy doing their own thing, and you can be happy doing your own thing, whatever it is that you want. But you just got to know what that is. And yeah, okay. So that's all I've got about the past life. I did already cut cords with this. After I pulled the cards, I did just cut the cord. It felt like the right time to do it. So if I had your permission, I did do it on your behalf. If you didn't want me to have permission, I really strongly suggest that you do that now. It's super important. Now we're just going to pull from Archangel Michael deck on guidance for you now. And although these cards are going to look similar, they're actually healing cards from a totally different deck, totally different artist, totally different author. Okay, so first we'll pull from Michael. 2, 3. Just asking, what does pile 2 need to know after this past life reading? I actually I'm gonna want this one right away. And this one. And I want that one. Okay. Self-respect. And we're going to go ahead and pull the other ones right away as well. Oops, sorry, I have cards falling. Okay. Oops. So sorry. It just gets a little complex when you have so many card deck boxes everywhere. Okay. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. What messages from the angels for pile 2 after this reading? Oh, I just want that one. Okay. And we're going to do 3 for this one. Okay, we're taking that one. Decided. And we'll do one more if it will give me one more. That one. Okay. Oh, I could have sworn I just grabbed 2 of the same cards, but they're different. Okay. All right. So the advice for you guys after this past life healing and reading from Archangel Michael is, romance angels are helping you. There we go. These ones have prayers on the cards. They say, dear guardian angels of my soulmate, thank you for preparing my soulmate and me for love. for giving us the motivation to make healthful life changes, and for arranging for us to meet. Thank you for helping us recognize each other and have the courage to say hello, so that we can eventually delve into a truly intimate relationship. Oh, that's so cool. I actually like that because that feels so aligned with that past life energy. And without clearing it, I would feel like this energy would have been pretty blocked only because of the self proclaiming, I should say, self limiting contracts, essentially, or vows of, yeah, I'm going to say vows that were cleared in the end, only because this energy would have been really hard to come in. All creative energy, that kind of manifesting energy, it's too, yeah, there was just a lot of things blocking it there from what that person had experienced and ended up essentially blocking out. So I love seeing this because once again, it's another confirmation that the angels want you to start working on manifestation. You don't have any blocks from your past lives that should be affecting this now, and you just need to intentionally call it in. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely come up a few times. Ooh, that's so exciting for you guys. And it's time to leave this unhealthy situation. Archangel Michael, what parts of my life do I need to focus on more closely right now? Thank you for helping me hear your answers, for giving me the courage to make healthy changes in my life. That's really good. I also think that's going to help with manifestation, but I think it's just, I could be wrong because this energy, for some reason, a little harder to read than the past life energy. But I am feeling like for this one, it is more related to having felt stuck for a while or blocked or just not really living the life you want to be living or feeling the way you want to feel in your life. And I think this is going to help get you where you want to be, essentially, in a really gentle way. Self respect. Dear God and angels, thank you for helping me see myself as you see me, through the eyes of love. Thank you for honoring and respecting me. Please guide me to the same for myself and grant me the courage to speak up on my own behalf. Ask for your protection in all of my relationships so that I am surrounded by loving and kind people. Oh, yeah, that's great too. Hmm. I feel like there's some forgiveness of self work there, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Disappointment in self, but I think that's a really great thing to do. If you didn't quite understand what I just read, it's basically asking Archangel Michael to help you see the value in you and the love that people have for you and that you are loved, and helping you see it in loving you until you can do it for yourself, essentially, helping you get there. All right. A few more cards here on some advice. Without hope, we live in desire. Ask yourself, what are my desires? Then ask, what are my genuine needs? Discover how casually you desire things that have no real value for you. Then you'll realize how easily you lose your power. Interesting. It's never too late to create a new body. Even the slightest change in your diet can generate a new body and a fresh mind. Avoid eating anything today that creates conflict in you. Observe how instantly your body manifests a grateful feeling. Ooh, there's another manifest word. So these feels two very related, being a bit unhappy with, I think it's the physical body and needs. I think that could be where the self-forgiveness might be coming in, but you know what? I don't want to say too much about these because I've just overloaded you with a bunch of other past life stuff. So I'm just going to read this last one and let it settle. To heal the body, first heal the mind. Today is for Observation. Where does your mind wander naturally? Into fear or fantasy? Humor or stress? Follow your mind and observe where it goes to feed itself. Do you like what you see? Ooh, these are actually really good cards. Something that just popped up in my head when I had all the past life cards up, I kept thinking that there could be a lot of life paths fives for some reason, ones or threes. And I know that's three numbers, but it's like no matter how I looked at it, I couldn't stop seeing ones, fives, and threes. So maybe that means something to you if you're into numerology. I just really felt like I had to mention it before I end things here. But yeah, I hope that helps you and that it resonates with you. I really wanted to do more piles, but like I said, somehow just hopped one cold to the next. But that's okay. I'm sure I'll do another one someday. I just can't quite say when. So yeah, I hope that helps. You guys take care of yourselves. Be easy on yourselves. Drink lots of water. There was a lot of clearing work, so it's best to drink as much water as possible just to avoid, um, just having a little headache or not feeling great. So, yes, drink lots of water. And by a lot of water, I mean 2 liters today. 3 liters would be amazing, but if you do 2 liters, that's amazing too. Okay, all right, I'll see you guys in a week. You have yourselves a good day. All right, pile three. I just finished doing the card reading, but I just came back from, I guess you could say, the future or the more future me. And I wanted to forewarn this pile that the past life energy that comes through is a little bit heavier. Not that you guys can't handle it, but I do just want to put a little thing in there. I didn't try to say too many details, but it could be a bit of a trigger warning or give you guys a trigger warning in case you are not in a place where you can hear this. So, what I might do is for some of you who maybe don't want to hear the details, but just have a knowing that this is your pile and you want the healing so that you don't have the heaviness of this anymore, or you don't have, I should say, so many so much past life energy on top of your own experience in this lifetime, then I will leave a timestamp with just the pause I do for the healing and just say yes if you want it, and there you go. That's all you'll need to do. But yeah, okay, I just felt that was really important to put in there, so you do what feels right to you. Yeah, don't do anything that doesn't make you comfortable. Okay, see some of you in this card reading and some of you in the healing section. Hello, pile three. You chose the clear quartz. Put that there. Okay, if you didn't hear me at the start of the card reading, I did pull from a few decks just to save some time. These ones are all cards for the past life and just knowing more about that past life. I do still have 3 card decks to pull from, so don't worry, you didn't miss it all. Okay, we're just going to put these cards down. Okay, we have a few things here. The goddess of abundance, the mother of the universe, the mystic peace. And you actually got one more of these cards than anybody else. So this one says local artisan, imprisoned. And then this one, I had the intention of only taking the lesson and the death off of it. Okay. And we're going to keep finding out more here. You've got Archangel Raguel, Beneath the Surface, Hidden Truth, Something Unknown. justice, harmony, solutions. And then leaving or travel, father. All right. So this one might be a little harder for me to explain how it will show up in your current life, but I'm going to give it a go and we'll see if it resonates or not. So I'm just going to start actually first with the explanation of what I'm seeing here. I don't know for sure, but for some reason I want to say around Mayan time. I don't know what era that is. If you've watched any of the other pals, I'm pretty bad with history timelines. But I do get that impression for sure. Big cultural time, not a lot of knowing you can just leave and do something different kind of times. And the way I see it is in this lifetime, this past life, this is a young female. I get the impression that it would have been somewhere between the ages of, oh, I'm having a hard time knowing what, I feel really influenced by the cultural norms back then, but I think for us it would be like 12 to 15 years old, maybe 16 years old, kind of age timeline for this girl. I don't want to say woman because it's definitely a girl. And it's very interesting because essentially this girl is depressed, and I do feel like it comes influenced by the life that she's leading. I have the impression that she had lost her father, lots of wars and stuff back then. Not really sure on the time frame, but the father is lost, and essentially their household is not as protected as before. And I think the mother's, like new warrior husband or um, doesn't take a husband right away, but there's someone in the village who essentially starts abusing her. And I do see it as she hides it and she doesn't tell anyone. So on the outside, she's this beautiful young girl. She has a great energy. Before her father passed away, she was very loving. She was like very alluring. She's that kind of energy that people wanted to be around. And then it shifts to basically she just feels dead inside. And if you've ever gone through a really hard time, it's just really tricky. There's like the grief of losing the father, and then the grief of this abuse. And she doesn't feel like it's something she can voice. I think it's culturally accepted back then, or the role that her family is in due to whatever hierarchy existed at the time wasn't okay to speak out. She had very traditional culture, so it wasn't okay to speak out about it. So basically, I kept it quiet and thought a lot about leaving, but felt essentially stuck there, like what is a prison with no bars, because there's nothing that she knew she could change about it back in that day. Yeah, Archangel Raguel is coming in. I do really like him here. I think he's essentially coming in to help with balance, justice, and bringing back harmony in this girl. Essentially, it's a very wounded soul that this happened to, and unfortunately, she did end up ending her life. If you saw this card beneath the surface, hidden truth, something unknown, I feel like no one knew anything was happening except for her and this abuser. And because of cultural norms at the time, the father's death just didn't mean much. So Her like way of thinking of leaving, she just actually ended up ending her life. But to be honest, I feel like as sad as that is, for her in this lifetime, she just didn't feel like there was any other way to um, get out of the situation, essentially. So, yeah, sorry guys. I was kind of, I haven't had too many terrible past life streams mentioned so far, but that one is actually quite sad. She definitely was young, and this is why I'm having a bit of a hard time referring to how you would know if this past life is yours. Um, in this lifetime. What I do get is that this person would have felt this way in those years 12 to 15, maybe even to 17 years old, feeling depression and just, maybe not content, or could have been loss for yourself that you experienced. But I do feel like the commonality is that during those years that you felt like you were just in so much pain on the inside, and yet this everyone was just seeing this beautiful person, this beautiful, I want to say girl, but I think that's just because it's how it felt in the past life. It doesn't have to be this beautiful person who had in their minds everything, they had a great life, but no one really could see the deeper, or just a slightly little bit deeper, that you were just really struggling um, to make it, to be there. So I do think that would be the same. I also kind of got a message for someone that it could be that when your children, if you have children, were those ages, 11, I want to say actually, 11 to 15, you might have felt like this inside. Yeah, like everything was fine on the outside, but on the inside, you didn't feel like you were okay. I'm sorry, guys. That is a hard one. The importance here is that we do really want to clear this energy, because if you are resonating with that, we don't want multiple past lives just stacking on to that, especially like that level of grief or depression. If you've had it in many lives, I just would ask just to, if you feel comfortable, to please just hold it a little longer so that we can clear this energy for you, so you're not, yeah, not dealing with centuries and hundreds of years of this kind of energy following you. That's a lot. We need to clear that. So, yeah, I think that's all I really want to say about this. I don't want to go into like any extreme detail about anything else. Yeah, it was very sad. There's a lot of um, unfortunate circumstances surrounded that past life. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna right away move in, and you just have to affirm, say yes, agree in any way. If you are okay with me healing this past life energy for you, I'm going to do it with the help of the angels. I'm going to use Archangel Raguel because he came up for this. I think he really wants to help with this and bring more balance. I'm also going to use Archangel Michael, Metatron, um, the angel. Some people think it's the Transformer. It's not. It's Metatron. Okay. Archangel Raphael, his team of healing angels, and I'm going to use a couple of my shamanic guides just to really make sure that we are getting this cleared for you. Okay. So if you feel comfortable with it, all you have to do is say yes in any way. If you don't feel comfortable with me doing it, please take it to a trusted energy worker, practitioner who does do past life work. Um, this feels like a pretty big pattern. I think when I go into it, it is going to be in multiple lives and multiple lifetimes. And yes, it is normal for death to happen. That's how past lives start and end. I do feel like there's just a lot of pain in a lot of these past lives. And so we just want to clear that up, because no one needs that heaviness and that weight You want to heal it. Also for those past lives, those aspects of you that are living in it, we want to clear that so that they're not stuck in that hurt and that wounding either. So yeah, we're going to do that. So it's just going to be quiet here for a little bit. I might throw in some music while I'm editing just to entertain you. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't take too long. Okay, let's get right into it. Okay, so all right, I did cut cords already for you guys on behalf of you if you let me do the healing. If you aren't okay with me cutting cords for you, didn't affirm for the reading, please cut cords now with this past life because we don't need it coming up for you later or getting stuck in it. So please do so now. I did, before I had cut cords, just ask for the lessons learned that this um, past life wanted to share with you. And I always really like doing this because sometimes they're old things we used to need to hear, and sometimes they're things we need to hear right now. So, oh wow, you actually got 5. I didn't realize that. So, sorry, this can be a lot of reading, but it feels important. So we have you never stop repairing and renewing yourself. You must absorb the light and shadow of each day you live. Don't keep your spirit stuck in yesterday. As a new day begins, prayer is in process. And on this side it said, recovery isn't a goal, but a process. Oh, that's beautiful. So no need to push yourself. Just take your time. Whatever is exposed to light, it itself becomes light. Invoke divine light to shine within you and reach into your shadow areas. Allow the healing power of this light to dissolve all the wounds your spirit and so restore your health. Really like that one. Constantly maintain alertness in walking, sitting, eating, and sleeping. You don't always need to meditate to keep your attention in the present time. Simply be aware. Alternate alertness also serves your intuitive voice by keeping you focused and receptive. Continuous alertness is your task today. And forgive one person today. Open your heart to that person and release unnecessary suffering from the past. Feel the peace that follows from this simple act. One right back actually. Illness begins in the stomach, and diet is the main remedy. Be mindful today of how you nourish your body with healthful food. Keep your spirit. Well, that was weird. Feed your spirit with self-respect and self-love, allowing only positive thoughts and feelings to enter your being. Oh, I like that. Feed your spirit with self-respect, and self-love, allowing only positive thoughts and feelings to enter your being. So those are all really beautiful messages for you from them. I do really think they understand that you have suffered with some of the same pain as them and some of the same shadow work as them. So this is just words of encouragement from, you could say, a one soul to another, but one that understands you a little bit better. And then lastly, I feel like this is getting a bit overwhelming, so I'm just going to pull maybe 2 cards from Michael. What does pile 3 need to hear, Archangel Michael, after this card reading? Which messages of support do you have for them? Believe and trust. The prayer they suggest is, before going to sleep tonight, say, Archangel Michael, please enter my dreams and replace fear with faith and trust. Let me be filled with strength, courage, and confidence. Believe and trust. He's handing his sword to you, which means he's giving you an opportunity or a chance to take your power back. Take control of the situation. So maybe consider doing that tonight before you go to bed. And see if it helps you feel any better. And then I'm just going to pull one more. Romance angels are helping you. So, dear guardian angels of my soulmate, thank you for preparing my soulmate and me for love, for giving us the motivation to make healthful life changes, and for arranging for us to meet. Thank you for helping us recognize each other and have the courage to say hello, so that we can eventually delve into a truly intimate relationship. So I actually feel like this applies for those already in a relationship or those looking for one. You can, if you want to rewind and listen to me say that again, maybe see really how it does apply to both, and how sometimes we lose sight of each other. And just asking the angels to help you with that, and calling in that higher conscious relationship, a more loving relationship. Okay, we'll do one more because I love Michael. Focus upon divine and perfect health. God and Archangel Michael, thank you for continuously reminding me to focus upon perfect health, and for guiding my actions so that they support my well-being. So perfect health, they don't mean do it perfectly, but your ideal health, what you define as your perfect health. That's what they're referring to, not that you have to create a perfect health. Okay, you're right. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. Um, yeah, guys, thanks for just sticking it through to the end here. I'm sorry if any of those messages were a little hard to hear. They definitely aren't easy conversations to have or probably even hear. So I really appreciate you having the strength and the courage to hear them and receive that healing. And I truly hope that you find more love and light in this lifetime, and that you don't forget to ask the angels for help and just really take care of yourselves. Okay, I'm just going to leave it there before I um, yippity yap too much. Okay, all right. You guys have a good week, and I'll see you soon.